My name is John Wood. I am the founder of Room to Read. Room to Read believes that world change starts with educated children, that the best thing we can do to help kids in the most resource-deprived parts of the world is to give them the opportunity to get an education. Ultimately, education is the only long-term ticket out of poverty. It's a hand up, not a handout, and Room to Read is now reaching 5 million kids across Southeast Asia, South Asia, and Southern Africa. This is Room to Read's 4th year at Clinton Global Initiative, so we're really excited to be back. We made a new commitment this week that we would bring enhanced educational opportunities to at least 1 million girls across the developing world over the course of the next 2 years. We're going to do that by increasing our library program by at least 4,000 new libraries, adding 7,000 girls to our long-term girls education program, and building at least 100 new schools. So in total, we'll reach at least 1 million girls and 1 million boys also, which is also important, over the course of the next 2 years as a result of this CGI commitment. For Room to Read's commitment at CGI 2010, we are partnering with some of our long-term corporate partners, with Barclays Capital, with CLSA Asia Pacific, Credit Suisse, Goldman Sachs. Those are all existing supporters of Room to Read who have stepped up for several more years of commitment to help us reach this audacious goal. In addition to that, we're very proud that the U.S. State Department is making its first grant ever to Room to Read. So that's a new partner for us that comes with this commitment for CGI 2010. I think education for girls and women is super important, not just for girls, but also for men and for boys, right? It's a 50-50 thing. When you educate a woman, you educate not just her daughters, but you educate her sons. And I myself am the product of strong women in my life, an educated grandmother, an educated mother, an educated older sister, all of whom read to me. So I look at my life back 2 generations and say, if the women in America had not been educated, I wouldn't have had a career at Microsoft. I wouldn't have made a lot of money at a young age. I just got lucky. I won the lottery of life. And so when I look at all the girls across the world who don't get to go to school, I think this is my karmic duty. It's payback time. With 2 billion people living in less than $2 a day, there's really not long-term economic growth if that continues. So education is an important issue, not just in its own right, but also for longer-term economic growth. If you can have several billion people be picked up out of poverty, it's going to be great for the world that our children and our grandchildren inherit, that will have economic prosperity around the world. And of course that leads to better health, it leads to better treatment of women. I mean, there's just so many multiplier effects, or the ripple effect through the value of education. One of the important things about our commitment this year at CGI 2010 is that we will publish over 1 million books in children's mother tongues. One of the reasons there's so many people in the world who are illiterate is because if you're in Laos or Cambodia or Nepal, there's no market for children's books because the parents are too poor. So kids don't get books in their mother tongue. And so what Room to Read is doing is self-publishing local language titles. Local authors, local artists producing original content, which Room to Read then publishes. We'll have over 500 titles by the end of this year. And as part of our CGI commitment, we are actually going to do at least 250 new titles in the next 2 years. And I want to stress, this is not a translation of a Western work. This is a Nepali artist, a Khmer artist, South African writers who are doing original content in the mother tongue. And that lets kids get literate first in their native language, and then they can add on additional languages like English. And what we hope to produce is a world of not only literate children, but also hopefully multilingual children. I think something changes for a child when they can look at a book and see children who look like them, see scenes that look like them. It says to them, this is relevant to you. It's not about taking a book from outside your country and saying you should aspire to be like this. It's to say, have pride that a child in Cambodia sees pictures of the jungle. A child in Nepal sees pictures of yaks and mountains, and their eyes just light up. They make that connection. And that's important because literacy is only one part of the equation. The other part of the equation is habit of reading. You learn to read, then you read to learn. You do it, I do it, we all hopefully do it. Why can't kids in the developing world also have that same opportunity?